34 minute, 23 second. Watch the entirety. They do a good job of responding to him. Salam. Watch here. Salam.
To me, it's a piece of a larger case that just strengthens the appearances of Jesus. Let's take a look at another clip.
And even if the 500 people did all believe it was Jesus, how many of them were already predisposed to think this? Remember, sometimes groups...
Man, you got to admit, his nostrils are beautiful, dude, honestly. And you can tell, what is that they call it? Metasexual, is it? Look, you can see he does his eyebrows. Look. Damn, even his eyelashes. You one sexy beast, dude. Ow! Right? You see that? Look at it, look at it. Look at him eyebrows, dude. Shoot. You know, he goes to the barber shop. Look at them beautiful nostrils. Look at them teeth, man. Damn, sexy. Smoking. Ow!
Groups do claim to see visions, such as various apparitions of Mary, or the Roman Emperor Constantine's vision of a cross of light in the sky, which may have been seen by his whole army as well. The source isn't clear. Look at this image. This is a...
Right there, folks. An actual photo. They say there was nearly 100,000 people at Fatima. Right there, folks. So what is he doing to offset the appearances of Christ, specifically Christ appearing to more than 500 people, most of whom are still alive? He goes, so what? There have been group visions documented, and one of the best group visions documented is Fatima. Now, understand what he's doing here. He's saying, hold on, Protestants, look at how he's going to expose them. Catholics, Orthodox, this miracle of Fatima is a thorn in the side of Protestants. Listen, because I'm now going to use it to show you how this means, Protestants, time for you to leave Protestantism. You got to leave. If you're going to be consistent and honest in your application of arguments, and you're going to be consistent with facts. For example, if you consistently, I need you to listen and learn, apply the argument for the historicity of the resurrection, if you're going to take that same criteria or criterion, singular, that you employ to show the resurrection is a fact of history, you're now going to end up proving Fatima is a fact of history. Mary did appear. It was a genuine vision of Mary. That means it's over for Protestantism. Watch what I'm going to do with this. I need you to listen. And you're going to hear Sean McDowell say something astonishing. You're going to be shocked at his statement. You're going to hear it. That's why I was excited to play this for you. But what Alex O'Connor is doing is saying this. Hold on. The event at Fatima, we have photos, newspaper clippings, even interviews of people who are alive. And some of the videos are on YouTube. Videos where you find people who are there alive, right? Obviously now most of them are dead, but you have it well documented. Actual photos, newspaper clips, people interviewed, nearly 100,000 who saw this event. Our Lady of Fatima who saw this event. And one of the girls became a nun. And she remained a nun till she died. And she didn't die too long ago. The massive amount of historical testimony, eyewitness testimony. We even have newspaper clips from that time. And photos means the evidence for Fatima. Listen to me carefully, because I'm going to show you how this proves the resurrection. Because you know how these Protestants are going to twist my words and going to demonize me because they're tools of Satan, because they can't handle the fact. The evidence for Fatima is greater than the evidence for the resurrection. What do I mean? The resurrection of Christ is a fact. But the documents we have come from the 1st century, and they come through copies that have been preserved so that we can know that these are eyewitness accounts or accounts written by people who interviewed eyewitnesses. But the evidence for the apparition of Fatima, newspaper clips, photos, and actual interviews with people that you can find online. So if the evidence for the resurrection is solid, that you must accept it, the evidence for Fatima is overwhelming. And ironically, the event of Fatima proves the resurrection. What do I mean? No resurrection, no Fatima. No risen Jesus, no Mary. The fact that Mary appears means that Jesus is risen, he's alive. Because if Jesus isn't risen, then Mary would not be appearing to anyone. So ironically, Our Lady of Fatima, Our Lady of Zaytun proves that the historical Jesus rose from the dead, did not remain dead. Isn't that ironic? So since Fatima is an event that has massive, overwhelming support for it, that actually now strengthens resurrection, Mary cannot appear if Jesus isn't alive, but she did appear. Therefore, her son is alive. He is risen. The tomb is empty. See how it works? Now watch what he's trying to do with it, though. Now you're going to see why I don't have much respect for William Lane Craig. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Demonize me, if you will. I do not have much respect for this man. Watch how he explains this event away, and he ignores the fact that many, in fact, thousands of people there were atheists, agnostics, and they were not predisposed to believe in a Marian apparition. In fact, they were trying to discredit it. But watch his inconsistency. This is why I don't know why you guys are like amazed at Craig. And sadly, he's now publishing several volumes on philosophical theology to continue to misinform people on what they should believe about the historical Adam, the Trinity, and Christ as God in the flesh. May the Lord protect people from his bad theology. Now watch. So what is Alex trying to do? What's the point of Alex? He's saying, hold on, Protestants. Do you accept Fatima? Look how he's going to set them up. If you say no, even though it has massive amount of evidence, then why do you accept the resurrection when it has less evidence? That's basically the gist of his argument, which is the argument of Bart Ehrman. You understand the argument? If you can admit nearly 100,000 people could have a group vision that you don't believe is real, it may have been hallucination, then that means you should have no problem in acknowledging that about 500 people had a group hallucination or a group vision, but it doesn't prove that Christ is risen objectively. You see what he's trying to do here? However, if you are a Catholic or Orthodox, you say, amen, brother. Mary appeared. It was no group hallucination, because it's not possible to have a group hallucination. And many of them were not predisposed to seeing Mary because they're atheists and they were hostile. Because Jesus is risen. You ain't refuting anything. You're only refuting your own materialistic, naturalistic worldview, because as an atheist, how do you account for this phenomenon? You can't, except by begging the question, special pleading. Exactly. Now that's what he's trying to show. Look.
Picture of a crowd in Fatima, Portugal in 1917. This crowd, many more than 500 in number, were witness to the so-called miracle of the sun. A prophecy by 3 shepherd children said that the Virgin Mary would perform a miracle on the 13th of October, causing this large crowd to gather on that day. And the miracle happened. Testimonies from the members in the crowd were published in the newspaper. They claimed to have seen the sun dancing in the sky, zigzagging around, and even advancing towards the earth, all for 10 minutes. So a large crowd witnessing a prophesied miracle, and we actually know who saw it and precisely what they saw.
See?
We even have their direct testimony. Does Wes Huff believe in this Catholic miracle?
No.
Do you?
Do you see how he just buried the Protestants? Protestants, it's over for you. It's over for you. Thank you, Alex. You just exposed the inconsistency, duplicity of Protestant theologians and apologists like Craig, because they'll do anything to hold their Protestantism even if it means it will undercut their argument for the resurrection. It's over. Do you catch what he just did? In other words, if you don't understand what he said, the evidence for Fatima is overwhelming. We even know who the people were. We even have interviews of them. We have photos. Whereas when Paul says more than 500 people saw him alive, most are still living, though some have fallen asleep, he doesn't give us their names. And we don't have their testimony. What are you going to do with this, Protestants? He just caught you. Because if you say, no, it didn't happen, then why should I believe the resurrection? If nearly 100,000 people, I'm going to show you Wikipedia, were there, and you deny that, even though we have photos, and we know the people, and we've interviews from them. You want me to now believe what someone says in the first century? He mentions more than 500, doesn't tell us who they are, and that testimony comes through copies that we believe have been accurately preserved, obviously, and you want me to believe in the resurrection on less evidence? See that? See what he did to him? It's over, Protestants. Now I'm going to shock you what Sean McDowell says, and now watch how inconsistent William Lane Craig is. Disgustingly so. And you guys made him a superstar. Exactly. Our Lady of Fatima, the place name is Fatima. It's Mary, the mother of Jesus. What are you talking about, dude? He does, like doctors is, right? Now watch. Watch Sean McDowell's astonishing admission and watch William Lane Craig's duplicity. Disgusting.
And if not, why not?
So I'm really curious your take. How do we respond to group videos?
Now watch the inconsistency. You made this guy a great apologist, man. This guy who's not good enough to hold Jerome's sandals, even Augustine's sandals, or Athanasius or Ignatius. This guy here, Lord have mercy on us. Lord Jesus have mercy on us. And Lord, don't give me what I deserve. Save me that I die glorifying you. Boy, are we both going to be rebuked severely before the Lord, him and I. I pray we both make it.
Visions of the Virgin Mary.
I think here Alex is drawing our attention to a very important point, namely the antecedent beliefs of persons which would dispose those persons towards certain experiences.
Now, you understand what he's saying? He's saying that Alex is right, that the apostles were predisposed into, the apostles' prior beliefs. Listen to what he's saying. The apostles' prior beliefs would have predisposed them, prepared them for a vision of the risen Christ. Argument meaning that if you've already have a certain set of beliefs, or if you already have something in your mind, that will predispose you and open you up to the possibility of having a vision that agrees with what your prior beliefs or assumptions are. But he's going to say, well, none of the disciples had any antecedent beliefs that there would be a resurrection of a single individual to mortality. Therefore, they would not have been predisposed to seeing Jesus risen physically and ascended to heaven physically. That's his argument, right? You understand his argument? Watch his argument. You understand his argument, guys? What his argument is? Exactly, not even Helvidius. Okay, now watch what he says. Look at the inconsistency. It's so disgusting, man.
Like Alex, I am skeptical of the Marian mass appearances.
And you respect this guy? You really think this guy's a great apologist? You guys are serious? You really respect this guy? You're skeptical about an event where we have newspaper clips, where we have interviews of the people, we know who the people are, and it's nearly 100,000 people? Even Alex showed a photo, and I'm going to show you Wikipedia, which is more reliable than the Quran. And he's skeptical? How can I not be angry with this guy and have no respect for him?
The person who experiences Marian visions are typically Roman Catholics predisposed toward belief.
Say that to the Coptic community and the Muslim community in Our Lady of Zaytun. So according to him, the Muslims were predisposed to have Marian visions and apparitions because they're Roman Catholic. Say that to all the atheists, agnostics that were in the crowd, that were hostile, who don't believe in God, but yeah, they were... Tell me this is not a pathetically stupid, pathetically bad and dishonest argument. Are you buying what he has to sell? So that was Roman Catholic, so they're open to Marian apparitions. What do you do with, there were thousands of atheists, agnostics, who didn't believe in God and wanted to prove it a lie. They too were predisposed. What do you do with Our Lady of Zaytun, another well-attested apparition where we have newspaper clips and photos, and even people are there are interviewed. You'll find their interviews on YouTube. And a host of Muslims, and even the president of Egypt acknowledged it. This guy's disgusting, man. Get upset with me, Protestant fangirls. This guy's disgusting.
In the Virgin Mary. And so for exactly the same reason, I wouldn't lay too much emphasis on the appearance to the 500 brethren, who were probably all Christians. It's interesting that...
Now notice what he did. You see what he did, right? He now says, I wouldn't put too much emphasis in 1 Corinthians 15:6, where Paul says, more than 500 brethren saw him alive, right? Some have fallen asleep, most are alive. See, I wouldn't put too much emphasis on that because they were Christian. You see what he'll do? A powerful statement that has powerful evidential value for Paul's audience. Because Paul is writing to people, and he's telling the people, most of them are still alive. Nearly 5 are still alive. And he's talking to people who can then verify his claim or deny it. But see, his claim is, yeah, but you can say it was a group vision, and because they're predisposed, then maybe they all saw the same vision. But I thought group hallucinations are not possible. This guy's pathetic, man. Disgustingly so.
Paul refers to them as brethren, 500 brethren. So these people were probably already Christian believers, and therefore predisposed to believe in Jesus' resurrection. And so I wouldn't lay too much emphasis on this. As you said, Sean, it's a piece in the puzzle.
Come on, Cameron, all of you guys. This is your hero? This is your hero? This guy here? Disgusting, man. Lord have mercy on me. But watch what Sean McDowell's going to then open up the Q&A. Disgusting. The great scholar, huh? One of the finest apologists. Lord Jesus, save us. Lord Jesus, save us. Lord, please don't punish me. Give me what I deserve. Let me finish the race and glorify you.
Part of the cumulative case. I think the really important appearances are the appearances to Peter and to the 12.
Now watch the genius here. Now watch, he's going to try to say, well, they were not predisposed to having a vision of Jesus risen in the flesh. But wait, if I was Alex, say, but hold on, Craig. Do you believe that when Jesus prophesied to them that the Son of Man would be killed and on the third day he'd be raised and he'd go ahead of them in Galilee? Didn't that then place the necessary antecedents to prepare them for this experience of Jesus alive? You see the inconsistency? See the inconsistency, right? He wants to say the appearance to Peter and the 12, that's more solid because they didn't have a concept of a dying, rising Messiah, Messiah being raised in the flesh to immortality. They believe in the general resurrection of the dead, but not of a specific individual. But then if I was Alex, but hold on, Craig. You believe that in Matthew 16:21, Matthew 17:22 to 23, Matthew 20:17 to 19, which is also found in Mark and Luke, they mention it, Mark 8:31, Mark 9:31, Mark 10:32, 34, Luke 18:31 to 33, that Jesus already told them in advance that the Son of Man would go to Jerusalem, the Jews would hand him over to the Gentiles, they would kill him, and on the third day he'd be raised, and then he'd go ahead of them in Galilee. So according to this argument, they already had the necessary antecedents placed in their mind, so they were predisposed to having a vision of Christ alive. Oppa! Oppa! See why this guy's a joke? Yeah, get upset at me.
These early appearances were completely contrary to antecedent Jewish beliefs, which
the argument is he's appealing to antecedent Jewish beliefs that had no notion of a dying, rising Messiah. No, Craig, that's not the argument. And you're supposedly one of the best. The argument is they were told by Jesus face to face. Jesus told them, like Mary told the 3 young children, the boy and the 2 girls, they were told by Jesus, I'm going to be handed over, I'll be killed, but I'll be raised on the 3rd day, and I'll go ahead of you in Galilee. That's all they needed. They didn't need Jewish sources. They didn't need to find the Old Testament. All they needed was to be told by Jesus, to then have the necessary antecedents already embedded in their psyche to prepare them for experience, like the 3 children were told by Mary. You see what a pathetically bad argument? Right? Exactly, I agree with you, brother, but this is the dishonesty of Protestants. If you still stay Protestant hearing these arguments, shame on you. You're not interested in truth.
Exposed them not to believe that Jesus was risen from the dead. One of the most remarkable things about the belief in the resurrection of Jesus is that the earliest disciples who suddenly and sincerely came to this belief were predisposed by their first century typical Jewish thought forms completely against it.
So notice what he's ignoring. You see the cop-out excuse? You see what he's ignoring? He's ignoring that Matthew, Mark, Luke, even John record Jesus telling them, I will be handed over and I will be killed. In fact, to the extent that in Mark 8 and Matthew 16, didn't Peter pull him aside and rebuke him, never, Lord? And Jesus said, away from me, Satan. See what he's ignoring conveniently? Because this is his burial, because he can't stay Protestant. But he doesn't care. It's all about him. He's his own pope, like James White is his own pope. So we got a lot of popes in Protestantism. Which one should we submit to?
And so this is one of the major factors crying out for explanation with respect to the resurrection of Jesus. What N.T. Wright has called these mutations in Jewish belief about the resurrection that were necessitated by believing in Jesus rising from the dead. This is not a natural evolution of antecedent Judaism.
Now, if I understand Alex's reasoning correctly.
Now watch, guys. Orthodox Catholics get shocked. Now, by the way, Orthodox can affirm this as well. What do I mean? Just like the Catholic Church acknowledges Our Lady of Zaytun as a bona fide apparition, even though she appeared in Egypt and she bowed before a cross on top of a Coptic church, Orthodox say, yeah, Mary appeared. She told them what they needed to hear because they were Catholics. She met them where they were and spoke to them in light of what they believed. You don't need to deny it. But watch here. Look what Sean's going to say, guys. Get ready. Shock.
He's saying, if we have this appearance of the 500, then we would need to adopt these Catholic visions of Mary.
Look what he says.
And since many people don't accept those, we should question the 500.
Yep.
I would say, well, all right, if we accept the 500 and be consistent in his eyes and accept the Marian apparitions, then you and I, Bill, would just need to maybe consider becoming Catholic.
Damn! He said it. He said it. He just exposed their inconsistency. Did you hear it? From the horse's mouth. This is what I wanted to play. Did you hear it? Guys, music to yours. I want to play that again. He says, if we were to be consistent, then you and I would have to consider being Catholic. Exactly. Exactly, Sean. Look at that smirk. Look at that smirk. Look at it. Disgusting. Lord have mercy. Have mercy on him. Save people from false teaching, convict them.
But he would need to completely shift his worldview and open it up to the supernatural, which would be far more jarring to him than it would be to you and me.
Damn.
But
let's hear it one more time. Did you hear it? One more time. Music to our ears.
What N.T. Wright has called these mutations in Jewish belief about the resurrection that were necessitated by believing in Jesus rising from the dead. This is not a natural evolution of antecedent Judaism.
Watch here.
Now, if I understand Alex's reasoning correctly, he's saying, if we have this appearance of the 500, then we would need to adopt these Catholic visions of Mary. And since many people don't accept those, we should question the 500. I would say, well, all right, if we accept the 500 and be consistent in his eyes and accept the Marian apparitions, then you and I, Bill, would just need to maybe consider becoming Catholic. But he would need to completely shift his worldview and open it up to the supernatural, which would be far more jarring to him than it would be to you and me. But nonetheless, I think you're absolutely right. The predisposition changes everything. I think it's fascinating. We look at the accounts of the disciples, like Mary sees Jesus, doesn't really understand, like what is going on when they view him. The disciples on Emmaus, even when Jesus is there, they don't understand. So they're predisposed to the opposite. And you and I have to explain the apologetic question. If that really was Jesus, why didn't they believe?
Yeah.
And so I think that predisposition, when you're told ahead of time, there will be this supernatural event, everybody shows up.
So you mean like when Jesus told them ahead of time that the Son of Man is going to Jerusalem and the scribes and Pharisees will hand him over to the Gentiles to be flogged and killed, and on the third day he'll rise again, and he repeated it more than once? That kind of antecedent prophecy before the fact, so that though they were shocked, it was still within their psyche because it was implanted over the years, so that they could be predisposed to seeing a vision, but at first glance, no, it can't be him. He can't be right. See that? Anyway.
In a group, I think we have an adequate explanation for this.
You have an adequate explanation if you're consistent and accept Fatima, unlike our buddy over here. Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Ain't too friendly in your neighborhood, huh?
It doesn't apply to the apostles.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, let's show you Wikipedia, what it says. Now, the major problem. How does Craig account for the fact that there were thousands of people there who were atheist, agnostic, who were there to make fun and scoff at this experience, to then ridicule Catholics who are not predisposed to wanting to see Mary because their worldview taught there is no God, there ain't no Mary? How do you explain that? See, that part he didn't touch on, right? That part he didn't touch on, right? Now, let me show you the Wikipedia page here, the photos and the newspaper. Now, remember, Wikipedia is more reliable than the Quran. Okay? Read it. I'm not going to read all of it to you because they even try to falsify it. Wikipedia trying to falsify it, but here's a link for all of you. It's a beautiful day. Can you get ABZ out of here, please? Can you get him out of here, ABZ? You guys on Rumble, block this guy. He's using money to try to get attention. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Now watch here. Let's go here. Let's enlarge it. And then I'm going to open up Q&A. Okay. Watch. They even provide images. These are the three. Mary even told one of them he would be with her next year. And next year he had died because of the outbreak. I believe it was the flu. It says it here. But anyway, watch the movie, Our Lady Fatima. Watch the newspaper clips that are still, you have photos of them. I don't know if they're preserved somewhere. You see it? Even Alex O'Connor showed you one. Alex O'Connor. La 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 la. Yeah, Spanish flu. All right, now I want to read. Here they are, right here. I want to read where they're trying to falsify it, but that tells you they don't read too well. Okay? What do I mean they don't read too well? 3 Secrets of Fatima. Because supposedly Mary said that World War I would end and gave a date. And then when it didn't happen, they were told, oh, see, it didn't happen. Are you sure? But they forgot this part. Watch here. Not all witnesses saw it. That's fine. Some saw radiant colors. Well, that right there. Others, including some believers, saw nothing at all. Fine. Not everyone's going to see everything. Just like on Pentecost, when the apostles spoke in tongues, not everyone heard them. They thought they were drunken men. No unusual phenomenon in the sun was observed by scientists at the time. Scientists could not document, really, a miracle that happens. You expect that it's going to be something you're going to be able to register? Because the sun they saw wasn't the sun per se. It may have been simply a shining object that started rotating. I don't know, but people saw it. They were there. Skeptics have offered alternate explanations that include psychological suggestibility of the witnesses. Really? And they even say, how many was there? All of them? How many thousand? Let me do this. La 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 la. La 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 la. Thousands flocked. Let me see how many. How many? Tens of thousands. I mean, over what? 100? Was it 100? They said. 1,000. Okay, let me see. It said how many people, man. What was it? What can I kind of over between? Sorry, guys. I should have had it here. Here, yeah, all of them, a huge crowd, possibly between 30,000 and 100,000. 30,000, 100,000. All right, now, rosary. Okay, now watch here. 30,000, 100,000, right? The witnesses, so they were all prone. Temporary retinal distortion caused by staring at the intense light of the sun. Yeah. Looking at the sun's going to make you see the sun rotate and dance and over your head. Optical effects caused by natural meteorological phenomena. Now, here's where they're trying to falsify it. Watch here. And I'm going to address it. We're going to open up Q&A. All right. In D. Marcini's account, he describes Manuel Formigao, the priest who interviewed the children during the apparitions, as alarmed by a discrepancy between the prophecy. See again, watch. And I knew it. I swear to you, I knew there was no discrepancy because this was conditional. The promise that the war would end had a condition that had to be met. And they gave it. They showed it. I go, see? Watch. And the current circumstance. According to the children, their apparition predicted the First World War would end on 13 October 1917. I knew it had a condition. The Lord knows my heart if I'm lying. I knew this wasn't unconditional. It would not end if a certain condition wasn't met. And they confirmed I was right, because when I read on, look, I want you to see this. Right? But listen, Lucia, Dimarchi reports Formigao, saying, the war is still going on. The papers give news of battles after 13. How do you explain that if Our Lady said the war would end that day? Look, she's being honest. She's not making it up. Lucius replied, I don't know. I only know that I heard her say that the war would end on that day. And I said exactly what Our Lady had said. Now here is the part they forgot. Jacinta, the youngest child, was interrogated separately and said the same. She, Mary, said that we were to say the rosary every day and that the war would end today. That's why it didn't end. World War I ended a year later. That's why it didn't end. It had a condition. If all the Catholics were to pray the rosary, it would end. Why didn't they mention that? So let me sum up and open up. We have more evidence, and let me show you some pictures from Fatima, the apparition, which you can just Google. And you can go on YouTube and do a search of people interviewed that were alive. When they interviewed them, they were still alive. Now here, okay, let me go here. We have more evidence. We have actual photos, newspaper clips, nearly 100,000, over 30,000. Many who were interviewed. So we have more evidence for the apparition of Our Lady of Fatima than for the resurrection. But you know what's the beauty about it? Our Lady of Fatima, Our Lady of Zaytun are simply more proof of the resurrection. What do I mean? I need you to hear me. Our Lady of Fatima, Our Lady of Zaytun are actually more proof of the resurrection. Why? If Jesus remained dead, and he's not been raised, there would be no Mary appearing to anyone. So isn't it ironic that Our Lady of Fatima, Our Lady of Zaytun, and others that were witnessed by hundreds of thousands, and Muslims saw, and even the president of Egypt confirmed, and happened in the 60s, and you go on YouTube, there are people live being interviewed? There would be no apparition at Fatima. There would be no apparition at Zaytun if Jesus remained dead. The fact that we have hundreds of thousands of people in recorded history, photos, newspaper clips, people live who were interviewed in the 60s in Egypt. You guys in Egypt, you know it. Some of you are actually the children of the people who were there. Some right here, their parents were there. They saw it. Their grandparents, and they heard. President of Egypt acknowledging it. Even the Catholic Church confirms that's a bona fide apparition. All that proves the resurrection. There would be no Mary appearing if Jesus wasn't raised. But because she appears, proof that Christ did not remain dead, but he rose, he's alive. But the reason why Protestants don't want to go there, the reason why Protestants don't want to go there, that means they have to leave Protestantism. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay. Well, let me show you the pictures and we begin. You just put a miracle event, Fatima, miracle of the sun. That's why. Do you blame me for losing respect for William Lane Craig in this form of argumentation? Oh, bye-bye. Bye-bye. There it is. Bye-bye. The photos. Bye-bye. Clips. And recorded history. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Protestantism. Bye-bye, Protestantism. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Protestantism. You're either going to have to be inconsistent, dishonest, or you're going to have to be honest and say, Holy Spirit, guide me to these ancient churches, and that's your journey. Bye-bye, bye, like we say in the Syrian song, bye-bye, 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 bye-bye. I don't think Orthodox would affirm Fatima, but nonetheless, what did I say? The Orthodox should have no problem with this being a miracle, because what they can say, thank you, Kevin, brother. He just sent me this link. I'm going to show it to you. What they can say, here it is. Thank you, bro. they can say, yes, Mary did appear, and Mary told them what they needed to hear because she was appearing to Catholics. Right? So this brother just sent me this. Thank you, brother. Thank you, William Lane Craig. You just exposed yourself. Thank you, Sean McDowell. Guys, Catholics, clip what Sean McDowell did. Clip what he said. If we were to be consistent, believing the evidence for the resurrection, and we apply the same method for the apparition of Fatima, that means Craig and I would have to consider being Catholic. Yes, 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 yes. Bye-bye. 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 Thank you, brother. Here it is. Clip from the Catholic events. Eyewitness gives story of Fatima, miracle of the sun. Ordination, right? So there you go. And what year was this, brother? Let's see what year this came out. This is a clip from what year? Let's see. Bye-bye. October 13, 1917. Friday, June 14, 1957. Anyway, we get it. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oh, another eyewitness account in the Catholic Advance on 14 June 1957. So this is an interview by an eyewitness who was there, and this took place in June 1957. No, it's fake, brother. It's all fake.